Have you ever wondered how a young king from a small kingdom became one of the most legendary conquerors in history? Welcome to the enigmatic world of Alexander the Great, born in the ancient city of Pella in 356 BC. Alexander's life from the beginning was far from ordinary. His childhood was steeped in Greek culture, learning under the tutelage of Aristotle, fostering a love for knowledge that would last his lifetime. His early life was a whirlwind of lessons, warfare, and politics. When his father, King Philip II, was assassinated, Alexander ascended to the Macedonian throne. He was only 20 years old. Young, ambitious, and now in charge of an entire kingdom, Alexander was ready to make his mark on history. But the journey from a young king to a legendary conqueror wasn't going to be easy. So how did Alexander transition from a young king to a legendary conqueror? Stay tuned to find out. Alexander was not just a king, but also a master strategist. His military campaigns were a testament to his ingenious tactical mind and fearless leadership. His first significant campaign took him across the Balkans, where he successfully subdued rebellious tribes and consolidated his power. But it was in Asia Minor where Alexander's strategic brilliance truly began to shine. The Battle of Granicus, fought in the spring of 334 BC, was his first major victory against the Persian Empire. Despite being outnumbered, Alexander led his troops to a triumphant win, showcasing his gift for turning the tide of battle in his favor. Moving southward, Alexander's army swept across Syria, where he again faced and defeated Persian forces at the Battle of Issus. This battle was a testament to Alexander's ability to adapt in the face of adversity. Outmaneuvered and outflanked, he managed to reposition his forces, break the enemy line, and capture the Persian king's family. Next, Alexander turned his attention to Egypt, where he was welcomed as a liberator. He founded the city of Alexandria, which would become a beacon of Hellenistic culture and learning. Then he set his sights on Mesopotamia, where he faced King Darius III in the epic Battle of Gaugamela. Despite facing a significantly larger Persian force, Alexander's strategic use of cavalry and infantry led him to another decisive victory. Finally, Alexander moved into Persia, the heart of the empire that had been his target all along. He conquered city after city, finally claiming the Persian throne and marking the end of the Achaemenid Empire. Alexander's military genius was undeniable, and it was his strategies that led him to control one of the largest empires in history. His ability to analyze his opponents, adapt to changing circumstances, and inspire his troops set him apart as one of the greatest military leaders the world has ever known. His campaigns reshaped the world, and his tactics are still studied in military academies to this day. Alexander was not just a conqueror, he was a master strategist whose influence can still be felt thousands of years later. Alexander's most significant achievement was arguably his conquest of Persia. Now, let's delve into the details of this monumental feat. It all began with the Battle of Granicus. In the spring of 334 BC, Alexander led his forces across the Hellespont and into Asia Minor, the dominion of the Persian Empire. At the Granicus River, he faced a formidable Persian army. Despite being outnumbered, Alexander's superior tactical acumen led him to a decisive victory, marking the first major battle of the Persian campaign. Following this, Alexander set his sights on Tyre, a strategic and heavily fortified island city. The siege of Tyre, which took place in 332 BC, was a remarkable display of Alexander's determination. Despite the city's formidable defenses and its location on an island, Alexander did not back down. After 7 long months of siege warfare, the city finally fell to Alexander's forces. This victory further solidified his control over the Mediterranean coast and marked a significant step in his conquest of Persia. But the real test of Alexander's military genius came at the Battle of Gaugamela. In 331 BC, he faced King Darius III, the ruler of the Achaemenid Empire, in what would be the decisive battle of the Persian campaign. Against overwhelming odds, Alexander's forces emerged victorious, demonstrating his mastery of battlefield tactics. This victory marked the end of Darius III's reign, and the beginning of Alexander's rule over the Persian Empire. It's important to note that Alexander's conquest of Persia wasn't just about military victories. He also skillfully incorporated the Persian administrative systems and culture into his new empire, showing a level of respect for the conquered territories that was uncommon for conquerors of his time. With the fall of the Achaemenid Empire, Alexander became the ruler of one of the largest empires in the world. His conquest of Persia stands as a testament to his military genius and his ability to command and inspire his troops. It is a chapter in history that continues to inspire and fascinate us to this day. But even the greatest of conquerors must face their end. As Alexander the Great entered the final years of his life, his ambitions were far from exhausted. He set his sights on the exotic lands of India, a region rich in culture and resources, a jewel that had yet to be added to his vast empire. In India, Alexander faced some of his most challenging battles. The formidable armies and unfamiliar terrain tested the Macedonian king's tactical genius. Yet, as always, Alexander prevailed. His victories, however, came at a great cost. The grueling campaigns took a toll on his men, their morale wavering. The once invincible force was beginning to show signs of weariness. Despite these challenges, Alexander's drive remained unquenched. He dreamt of reaching the ends of the world, but his men had had enough. They yearned for their homeland, their families, the life they once knew before the endless wars. Faced with a potential mutiny, Alexander was forced to turn back. Returning to Babylon, the heart of his empire, Alexander was greeted as a living god. But the conqueror, who had faced countless battles, braved the harshest of terrains, and defeated the mightiest of foes, was about to encounter an enemy he couldn't defeat. At the age of 32, Alexander fell gravely ill. It was an adversary not to be vanquished on a battlefield, but one that slowly, insidiously consumed him from within. Within days, Alexander the Great, the undefeated conqueror, the king of kings, was no more. His death was as enigmatic as his life. Was it poison, a deadly fever, or simply the toll of his relentless campaigns? The world may never know. What we do know is that Alexander's life, though brief, was one of unprecedented achievement. His empire spanned 3 continents, and his influence reshaped the world. Though his life was short, Alexander's impact on the world was immeasurable. His legacy, like the man himself, would prove to be enduring, a testament to his greatness, long after his final breath. Alexander the Great left behind a legacy that continues to inspire and intrigue us even today. This young king from Macedonia, with his strategic brilliance, carved out one of the largest empires in the known world, forever imprinting his name in the annals of history. Let's take a moment to revisit the key points we've discussed. Alexander's military strategies were nothing short of genius. His innovative techniques, such as the use of the phalanx formation and his ability to adapt to various battle scenarios, set him apart from the leaders of his time. His victories in critical battles against the mighty Persian Empire were testament to his prowess as a military tactician. His conquests were not merely territorial. Alexander aimed to amalgamate the cultures of the East and the West, promoting a sense of unity and creating a new cultural identity within his empire. He adopted customs of the lands he conquered, respecting their traditions and beliefs, thus winning the hearts of many of his subjects. Yet Alexander's empire was not destined to last. Following his untimely death at the young age of 32, his vast domain crumbled. His generals, known as the Diadochi, fought amongst themselves for control, ultimately fragmenting his empire into several Hellenistic kingdoms. But the demise of his empire didn't mark the end of Alexander's influence on world history. His cultural diffusion policy led to the Hellenistic period, a time of significant advancements in science, art, and philosophy. His military tactics are still studied in military academies around the world today. He has been the subject of countless books, films, and works of art, his life and deeds continuing to captivate people's imaginations. In essence, his legacy is not confined to the borders of his empire, but permeates the fabric of our cultural, scientific, and intellectual heritage. Alexander the Great, the young king from Macedonia, forever changed the course of history, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire us today.